What's up, everyone? All right, well, we've got a lot to cover today. We're going to do a case study on APM. This is a stock that I traded today and made the most on. It was our leading percentage gainer, up, hit a high of just under 90%, I believe it was. Solid move. However, this stock did not have a fresh news catalyst, which made it a little bit riskier. We'll go over those trades. We'll also talk about the other stocks I traded. As you may recall, today now is day 2 of trader rehab, and it has now been 2 days of discipline. So I have had 2 days since my last epic failure, which is great. Not that Monday and Tuesday were that bad, I guess. But anyways, they weren't good. They weren't great. So nonetheless, we're going to get into the recap here, starting with the case study on APM. Okay, so APM this morning, and maybe to set the stage a little bit, when I first sat down this morning at about, well, actually, I was up early today. I was up at like 5. So when I got up at 5 and 5:30, I checked my scans early, and there was nothing. The leading gappers today were like 25, 30%. So I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a slow day, I think. By 7 a.m., when I was sitting down here at my computer, still leading gapper, only about 25, 30%. And then APM squeezes up just enough here to put it at the top of the gap scan. So at the time when I first traded it, it was up 38% on the day. So it had just squeezed up. Now, I tried to identify the catalyst, but I saw that APM didn't have fresh news. There was no fresh catalyst to support the move. So I checked the daily chart on it. And of course, I recall APM because it made this huge move back here in early March. It pulls back, it pops up on this day, sells off a little bit. So I'm like, okay, this could work as a first daily candle to make a new high. Now, it's above the 200 moving average, which is in contrast to another stock that traders were watching, which I'll pull up the chart on, HOLO. A number of people were watching HOLO. The problem with HOLO, in my opinion, was that not only has it, so it made this big move, it pulled back, squeezed even higher, rejected, tried to bounce on this day, failed, tried to bounce on this day, failed, tried to bounce here, still really hasn't gone, and now it's way below the 200. It's going to have upside resistance. BMR is another stock that was popping up today. This one's more similar to APM. It made a bigger move earlier back in February. It's pulled back, but at least it's still above its 200 moving average. Now, I almost forgot to mention, we've got our St. Paddy's Day sale going on right now at Warrior Trading. So you guys can come over to the website, warriortrading.com, and check it out. We've got some case studies here of some success stories from some of our featured members, which you guys could check out if you're interested. The Warrior Pro curriculum has been our flagship course. That one has been the most popular, but we also have our Warrior Starter membership, and there's some FAQs here. This is the class, by the way, that Investopedia has ranked as the most comprehensive day trading course. And the Warrior Pro Special Bundle also has a 7-day money-back guarantee. So you should check out the website if you're interested. You can go to the top and then click Join Now to look at memberships. You can also do a demo if you want. And when you do the demo, you can actually kind of get a feel for what our platform is like. If you haven't done that already, you're welcome to do that anytime. But anyways, if you guys use those coupon codes this weekend and before next week, you'll be able to get some extra savings on your Warrior Starter or a Warrior Pro membership. So hopefully you guys check that out. All right, so I just want to mention that before I forgot. So when I first pulled up the chart on APM, excuse me, and I still have this cold. I pulled up the chart and I'm like, okay, I like the daily chart. So this could work for a, for a bounce day. It's not bad. But is it really going to work? I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure. So I actually traded this in my small account first. In my small account, I pulled it up when it was at $6 right here. And I looked at the spread and I ended up getting in it right here at $6. Now, I'll do the small account recap separately, so I'm not going to do that today. But it ended up going up to 7. And so that was a nice win in the small account. It pulls back, and then at this point, I'm like, okay, I can take it seriously. I can consider it now for my big account. And so this was where I took my first trade. And on my first trade, You know how much I made? Well, actually lost $78. $78 on my first trade. All right. So I was like, shoot. Well, this thing is a little tricky, but that's fine. So it kind of popped up here, and then it rejected. As you could see, it dropped back down. So no profit on that first trade. It goes sideways, and then it starts to curl up here. So as it made this move back up, I started trading these breakouts here and right here for the move through the highs. And through this move, I was able to get myself up about $700 on it. Not a lot. And all things considered, the move wasn't huge and the liquidity wasn't great, but I got myself up 700, which put me up about 1,000 on the day because I had another stock I had traded. So I'm like, okay, good. You hit your first $1,000. That's great. And going into the open, so this is the market open right here, I'm up $1,000 on the day, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get anything more. It's day 2 of trader rehab. I've got to be really disciplined. I can't push it too hard. So I was thinking, well, yesterday we had a great move early, but today we're really not seeing a lot that's clean. Well, APM ends up curling back up here to VWAP, the orange line, volume weighted average price, and it then busts through it. It pulls back, and I bought this dip right here. All right, it goes up into a halt, and I lock up about $600. Now I'm up $1,600 on the day. I was like, sweet. On resumption, I was looking for, honestly, a reversal because we had this sort of stretch up, and I sort of thought it was extended. It dips. I hesitated to buy the dip, and it rips up into another halt. I was like, holy smoke. So it goes all the way up to 770. It opens, it dips, and I bought 2,000 shares right here for a quick pop up through the high up in this area, and now I'm up 2,400 on the day. So I'm like, all right, nice. It pulls back here, squeezes back up, it dips down, and I get back in right here as it comes back up to break through this high. It goes up to 850, sort of stalls out, but I got myself up to 3,500 on the day in total. So that was all good. But then I had my biggest loss of the day at 952, and that was right here. So, through this area, I'd gotten myself to up 3,500, and then as it pulled back here, I bought the dip off of 8, but I got a sort of terrible fill on my dip. I pressed the buy button when the bid was 801, and the offer was, and I'll just show you this order here just so you could see. This is a pretty quick trade. So on this trade here, I bought at 807, and I pressed the buy button 3 times. It was a little bit aggressive, but look at my fills. 807, 814, and 826. That's 20 cents apart. So I just lost $400 on this fill because of slippage. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I'm in this thing at like 815 with 6,000 shares. So I stopped out at 802 when it wasn't able to bounce. And just like that, I lost about $1,200. So now at that point, I was up 2,500 on the day. All right. And I'm thinking maybe 2,200. And I'm like, oh, all right. That's like they're giving back 30% of my profit. So one thing that I notice is like on my best days, I have little losses, but relatively, I'm only giving back, maybe like 10% to like maybe 20% at most of my P&L to that point on those dips. So what I just did, unfortunately, on that trade, and it happens easily when you're not up a lot on the day, is I went from up 3,000 to up, 2,500. I gave back about a third, like 33% of my profit on the day. So now I'm like, all right, well, shoot, I don't want to give back more than half because I don't want to go red. I got to protect my profit. And if I do go back to up only 1,000, remember that all of the extra commissions I generated up here and coming back down are going to come off the $1,000 of net profit, of gross profit. So my net will be even lower. So at this point, I started feeling a little more emotional. I was like, all right, shoot, this might be, should I walk away here? What's going on? This is a little frustrating. And it ends up dipping down here to VWAP. And then it rushes all the way back up to the highs. So as it squeezes up right here, I add back. And it ends up popping up to a high of like 860, but it sort of stalls out, dips down a little bit, pops back up. And on this trade, I made back about $1,000. So I got myself back to up just under 3,500. It was like maybe 3,300. So I was like, okay, not bad. So now I'm sitting at 3,300 on the day, and we go into this period of sort of choppiness. I didn't trade in this area. Well, actually, I don't recall a trade in this area, but I'd have to look exactly. I don't think I got any trades in here. But then as it started to curl up, this is what I was noticing. It's double bottoming at $7.80. It doesn't want to break that level. Keeps dipping and bouncing back up. And so I kind of thought, this might be one of those setups that's going to just start to pull away. So I ended up buying right here at about 850. And then it drops down here to about 810. And I was like, that might have been a mistake. I was down about 1,200 unrealized. So I was back at 2,500 on the day. And then it comes up and it breaks through, which is what I thought it was going to do. And I took my profit out as it crossed over 850. I took profit at 860, 870. My best exit was 879. Not bad. Let's see. What was the high? Well, I think the high there was about $9. And then it does this jackknife and it flushes all the way back down here to 780. I bought the dip down there with 2,000 shares at 93. It pops back up here to about 820 and I sold that. And at that point I was like, you know what? I think this is a good enough time to walk away for the day. So I finished the day at, $4,000 on APM and $4,399.99 total. It's a decent day. Day 2 of Trader Rehab. So day 1 yesterday, let's see. Day 1 was 8,000 plus 8,000, which was really much more than I expected. Day 2 plus 4,000. So now I'm sitting at $12,000 recovery off the low. Now, if you remember, I, was up about $140,000 in 30 days or so. And then I lost 10,000 and then on Monday, and then I lost 20,000 on Tuesday. So made back 8,000 on Wednesday, and now I've made back 4,000 today. So now, 12,000. So I've made back almost half, not quite, of the drawdown. Once I've made back half, that's usually when I take the training wheels back off and will feel comfortable starting to size back up for the next leg up. And then I'll have a nice move higher. And then eventually, I'll have something similar that happens where I'll, have a couple steps down and I got to do it over. Because this is trading. This isn't, this is something that is hard for me to accept, that every couple months or whatever it is, there'll be a drawdown. But, that's the reality. So you better just accept it. And I have to say that to myself too, because that's the reality of being a trader. There are ups and there are downs. So, so APM was by far the biggest winner today. And again, since it didn't have a fresh catalyst, I wasn't, and also I'm in Trader Rehab, so kept my share size small. So I did increase my share size. I took my first couple trades at 3,000 shares and 4,000 shares, and then I increased my max size on the day to 6,000. Yesterday, I was capped at 5,000 shares. Today, I increased the cap to 6,000. I could probably move tomorrow to 7,000 if I want to. But it, in any case, so starting just to move the training wheels off just a little bit, because yesterday was a good day and my first couple trades today were, I got myself at least a little bit of profit. And one of the reasons I did that was because one of the stocks I was trading today was lower priced. So I felt like I could manage my risk even with a little bit more share size. That was AUUD. AUUD was on the scanner earlier, but this has been beaten up on the daily for a long time. Reverse split, sold off even more. It's got a decent amount of room up to its 200 moving average, but it did pop here, although that was before the split. So, this one, I took the trade on the 10-second chart at 360, and then I got back in at 370. So my two trades on it were, let's see. So this was my first trade on it right here. Bought that pullback, ended up going red on it, got back in right in here and got green on it. And then I was like, I just don't think I like this stock, period. So I didn't trade it anymore. So only made a teeny bit on that. CHR, $90 on that. Nothing exciting. So, overall today was slow. We didn't have, any gapper that was, I don't think, over 100% unless APM was for a moment. So total gappers were a little smaller today. APM, it became the most obvious one, but it was a continuation sort of bounce, a daily setup, not fresh news. So, it's, I don't know, kind of just a slow day. And now tomorrow, we've got the weekends, Friday, and then we've got the weekend. So coming to the end of the week here, look, I'm not going to recoup all of my losses this week. And that's okay. I can't even try to do that because it's not worth trying to do that. That's setting the wrong intention. What I want to do is come in tomorrow for day 3 of Trader Rehab. And tomorrow I just want to have another decent day. And my goal initially first is to build my cushion and see if I can get myself up $1,000. And if I get myself up 1,000 and, things are looking good, then I'll keep trading and see if I can get myself up towards 2, 3, 4,000. What I want to try to avoid is having a big loss on my first trade, which means the first trades have to be relatively small share size so I can manage my risk. And then only if I first get that profit cushion, start to size up and be a little bit more aggressive. We might see something that's nice, but, we may not. It's really going to come down to whether or not there's a company that puts out a nice news headline tomorrow morning. So I'm always watching top, bottom of the hour, pre-market for breaking news, 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9. And then going into the open, we're just watching to see how these stocks that had news continue to trade. Some people will trade before 7 a.m., but the volume is very light, which means the spreads are very big. The liquidity is poor. And even if you have a huge move, you wouldn't have been able to trade it with big size anyways. So it's the ROI on trading at that time of the day isn't super, super solid right now. So starting at 7 a.m. is when things get better in terms of liquidity and volume. So I'll be sitting down 7 a.m. and tomorrow morning looking for something that's moving. And hopefully we see something. It's always a little bit of a question whether or not we're going to see anything that's strong. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and I hope you subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up, and come check out the website. We've got our St. Paddy's Day sale going on right now, and we'd love to have you guys become members at Warrior Trading. So see you guys real soon.